If you ever want your entire world flipped before you even finish your morning coffee, go ahead. Buy a ranch next to a self-declared HOA queen with a flair for control and a flair for theatrics. No joke. The first thing I heard after 6 months away, as I rolled up in my dusty old F-150, was, "You better leave this property right now, or I'm calling the cops, you filthy rancher." That was Brenda Martinez, president of the local HOA, neighborhood tyrant, and the kind of woman who probably has the emergency line on speed dial. There she stood at my gate, blonde bob shimmering under the sun, red suit loud enough to scare cattle, and phone already recording me like she was about to break the next viral scandal. I took a slow sip of my coffee, holding back a laugh, because I've owned that land since before she probably ever held a clipboard. And yet, somehow, I was being treated like some outlaw trespasser. Let me rewind a bit. If you've never had the pleasure of dealing with a control-hungry HOA, then you don't know what it's like to have your daily life policed over nonsense, like the volume of your rooster's crow or the ruggedness of your truck. Brenda had already driven a dozen families out with her iron fist rulebook before she turned her sights on me. But I guess unlucky number 13 wasn't going quietly. She launched into a sermon of complaints. Grass too tall, truck parked too aggressively, rooster disturbing the peace. It was all so ridiculous. It would have been hilarious if she didn't deliver it like gospel. I kept my cool, scratching my head and playing dumb while she spiraled deeper. Brenda needed an audience, and unfortunately for her, she got one. She called 911 right there in front of a growing crowd, put the dispatcher on speaker, and started spinning a tale about a dangerous squatter refusing to leave HOA land. Neighbors trickled out of their homes, phones raised, some whispering, some recording. I could practically see the hashtags forming. Sure enough, within the hour, I was trending videos of Karen kicks out ranch owner, were spreading like wildfire. Messages started flooding in. People were outraged, amused, and deeply invested. Poor Jake. Justice for Jake. And of course, some folks debating whether it was even real. Then the police arrived, 2 young guys who looked like they'd rather be anywhere but there. Brenda threw herself into a performance, brandishing what she claimed were signed papers proving she owned my land. The signature looked more like a child's crayon doodle. I kept my response simple. "Officers, is there a problem here?" That only fired her up more. She turned to the crowd, declared that she'd cleansed the neighborhood of 12 problem residents, and that I'd be number 13. According to her, people like me were the reason Willowbrook was losing its charm. The air turned sour with her bitterness. But life has a way of throwing you lifelines when you least expect them. As she ranted, I caught a wink from Mike, my groundskeeper, calmly tending to the garden like it was just another Tuesday. The officers, clearly not eager to fuel the drama, advised her to pursue the matter legally. Brenda nearly exploded. She muttered something about me not even understanding legal papers, thinking she'd scored some kind of win. I let her think so. Once inside, I paused near an old photo, me and my wife, back when we still believed this place would be our little slice of paradise. That was before 2017, before another HOA, another tyrant, and the kind of betrayal that leaves scars you don't talk about. Just as I sat down, trying to collect myself, my phone buzzed with a new message. Unknown number. It read, "Jake Morrison, we know you're back. Castellano sends his regards." That name hit like a steel-toed boot to the gut. Vincent Castellano, the man who'd ruined everything years ago. It hit me not long ago. Brenda wasn't just some overzealous neighbor drunk on power. She was a puppet tangled in strings pulled from far higher up. I logged into a private HOA monitoring system, and there it was, Willowbrook Estates, lit up in red like a warning beacon. Whatever this was, it was bigger than petty fines or lawn disputes. It was a war zone disguised as a neighborhood. The next morning, the gloves came off. I was jolted awake by the roar of a bulldozer. I ran to the window only to see it plowing through my mother's vegetable garden. Her pride and joy for over 40 years, reduced to mulch and dust. Brenda was out front streaming the destruction live, waving some bogus violation notice like she was a game show host. I rushed out, desperate, yelling for her to stop, but she just gave me that smug, cold smile and said, Your mother should have followed the rules. The comments under her stream turned fast. People were outraged, demanding answers. Some asked what kind of person would destroy a garden like that. For the first time since coming home, I didn't hold back the pain. I dropped to my knees. Mike came up beside me, quietly knelt down and said, "Jake, your mom would be crushed." That hit harder than the sight of the ruined plants. Just like in 2017, it felt like everything was being taken again. But it didn't stop there. By midday, Brenda was holding a press conference. Yes, an actual press conference. Right at my gate, brandishing a forged environmental report and demanding 75 grand in damages. I didn't say much, just stood there, shoulders low, playing the part of a man already beaten. But people started noticing. Neighbors who once kept their distance wandered over. Mrs. Henderson even brought me a sandwich, whispering that this wasn't right. Mike, meanwhile, was quietly gathering evidence. Photos of every fake document Brenda flaunted. That night, I sat on the porch staring into nothing, buried in memories and the weight of it all. My phone buzzed nonstop, dozens of missed calls, nearly 100 violation notices. And even though I was pretending to fall apart, some of that hopelessness was all too real. Mrs. Henderson joined me, offering quiet support. She didn't know my full story, but she could see the fire in me was burning low. The next morning was pure chaos. Brenda pulled up at dawn with a convoy. Trucks, private security, flags waving, cameras rolling. Her stream was already pulling in tens of thousands of viewers. She shoved another stack of fake paperwork in my face, threatening to drag me out if I didn't sign. I let my hands shake, made my voice crack, asked her to explain it. That's when she slipped, bragging, boasting, giving away more than she meant to. The chat on her stream lit up, catching every word. Then Mike appeared beside me. "Boss," he whispered. She just exposed herself in front of 78,000 people. Everything flipped. Sirens wailed. Cops showed up and almost cuffed me, until a call came through. The officer stopped mid-motion, eyes wide. The FBI was on the line. Moments later, black SUVs pulled up. Suited agents stepped out. Brenda's face went pale. One of them walked up to me, nodded, and said, "Sorry for the delay, sir." I straightened up, shed the helpless act, and faced the cameras. "My name is Jake Morrison," I said. "I run United HOA Solutions. We monitor and regulate every HOA in this country." The crowd fell dead silent. Brenda's mouth hung open as her empire collapsed in front of her. I laid out the truth. Every lie she told, every document she faked, every neighbor she harassed. Her live feed caught it all. Then Mike tore off his gardener disguise, flashed his FBI badge, and smiled at her. "Might want to check your greenhouse for bugs, ma'am." Brenda crumbled. She dropped to her knees, babbling names, blaming threats, insisting it wasn't her fault. The agents cuffed her and led her away as the crowd, both in person and online, cheered. I found her shiny #1 president sticker in the dirt, held it up, and ripped it clean in half. For a moment, it felt like justice meant something again. But just as I started to breathe, my phone buzzed with a new message. "This isn't over. We're just getting started." I looked toward the rising sun, because in places like this, peace is never permanent, and some battles are just the beginning. So here's my question. Are HOAs really protecting our communities? Or are they just power games wrapped in fine print? Would you stand your ground? Or walk away before it gets this far? Everyone's got a story. I want to hear yours.